War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 1. Starting with the T2. The T2 manages to complete the full 360 in 2.258 seconds, putting it at the top of our list. It's also the only thing on the list. Up next, the LA-15. The LA-15 nearly matches the T2 with a time of 2.291 seconds, putting it second place on our list. The Spitfire. How do World War II props compare to these fighter jets? Rather poorly. The Spitfire came in with a time of 6.925 seconds, putting it squarely in last place. How about the F-16? The F-16 clocks in with an impressive 2.05 seconds, making it the best so far. We got time for one more. How about the FW-190 Dora? It got a time of 3.291 seconds, putting it in fourth place just ahead of the Spitfire. War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 2. First up, the Horton 229. This odd-looking flying wing aircraft completes it in a less than impressive 8.908 seconds, putting it in sixth place, bottom of the list. The F-86 Sabre. It manages an impressive 1.941 seconds, putting it in first place. How does its Korean War rival, the MiG-15, compare? It's much slower at 5.325 seconds, putting it behind the FW-190 Dora. I kinda did the Spitfire dirty last time. Let's do the Mark 24. The Mark 24 Spitfire does it in 2.408 seconds, surprisingly putting it ahead of the FW-190. Next up, the Firebrand. This British carrier strike aircraft did better than I thought, coming in last place, but being within half a second of the Horton 229. War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 3, US Navy Edition. Up first, the F-3F. This biplane does it in 5.391 seconds, putting it in 8th place, just behind the MiG-15. Next, the Wildcat. The Wildcat fares even worse at 5.508 seconds, putting it in 9th place. F-4U Corsair. The F-4U Corsair comes in with a respectable 2.908 seconds, putting it in 6th place. F-6F Hellcat. It comes in with a 4.642 second time, leaving it just ahead of the MiG-15. The F-9F Cougar. Coming in with a time of 2.558 seconds, but still being beat out by the Mark 24 Spitfire. 6th place. The F-8 Crusader. The F-8 Crusader comes in with a very impressive 1.958 seconds, nearly beating out the F-86 Sabre, but not quite. 2nd place. The F-14 Tomcat clocks in with a time of 2.141 seconds, enough to earn it 4th place. War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 4, Viewer Request Edition. Try the Yak-38? How about the Harrier instead? The Harrier puts down a new time to beat with 1.791 seconds, putting it in 1st place. The F-104, any variant, would be interesting. Okay. The F-104 pushes to the top of the list with an insane 1.691 seconds. I'm not surprised, though. I mean, look at it. Do the A4E early Skyhawk? Okay. Shockingly, the A4E comes in with a time of 1.675, putting it ahead of the F-104 Starfighter, into 1st place. Try the SK-60 or whatever the Swedish jet is? Okay. The SK-60 comes in with a fairly formidable 2.008 seconds, enough to earn it 6th place. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 5, Reserve Edition. First up, the P-26. This brightly colored monoplane takes 3.408 seconds to do the full 360, landing it in 15th place overall. Next, the HE-51. The German biplane manages a 2.308 second time, putting it in 11th place. Next, the I-15. The Russian biplane does it in 2.475 seconds, putting it in 13th place. Next, the Fury. This British biplane is much slower than the rest of the pack, taking over 5 seconds. Next up, the Ki-10. The Ki-10 comes in at 3.508 seconds, which lands it in 18th place. Last one for today, the D500 from France. It nets a 2.775 second time, putting it in 15th place. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder plane roll rates compared, Part 6. How about the F-2H Banshee? Sure. The F-2H Banshee comes in with 3.41 seconds, landing it in 19th place so far. Do the HS-123? Okay. It did it in 4.558 seconds, putting it in 21st place. Try the FW-190, any version? Well, I already did, but I messed it up, so I'm going to do it again. The FW-190 comes in with a very impressive 1.908 seconds, making it the best piston engine aircraft on the list, and 4th place overall. What about the G91 pre-series? How about the German one? The G91 comes in with a 1.958 second time. It's tied with the F-8E. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder Plane Roll Rates Compared, Part 7. Oops, all Corsairs. Yes, this one is for you. You specifically. First up, the F4U 1A. The 1A comes in with a time of 2.908, matching the 1D. Next up, the F4U 4B, the actual plane that you suggested. This one's a little bit slower at 3.025 seconds, probably because of the extra weight in the wings, for cannons and mounting points for bombs and stuff. That puts it in 20th place, just behind the other two Corsairs. This one's a little different. The F2G1. The F2G1 pulls in a very impressive 2.575 seconds, putting it in 16th place. And lastly, let's throw in the F4U7. The French Corsair comes in with 3.141 seconds, making it the slowest of all the Corsairs, probably because it can carry the most ordnance. If you want to see a plane, leave a comment. I'll do it. I have nothing better to do. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 8. F4 Phantom? Okay. The F4 Phantom comes in with 2.441 seconds, netting it 15th place. P-38 Lightning? Okay. P-38 Lightning comes in with 4.891 seconds, putting it 29th on the list. BF-109, please? Okay. The 109 comes in with 4.075 seconds, which puts it in 27th place. XP-55? Sure thing. It got 4.758 seconds, placing it right above the P-38 Lightning. If you have a plane that you want to see tested, leave a comment. I'll do it. Maybe. Probably. Unless it's a heavy bomber. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 9. A-10? Okay. The A-10 pulls in a surprisingly good 2.575 seconds, putting it in 19th place, tied with the F2G Super Corsair. Key 44/43 best roll? We'll see about that. It came in with a time of 1.641 seconds, putting it in first place, and I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I didn't think anything was going to beat the Skyhawk. Please, FW-190? Yeah, okay. The FW-190A5 got 2.425 seconds, putting it in 16th place. Stuka? Okay. The Stuka came in with a time of 5.408 seconds, which is better than I thought it would do. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. Maybe subscribe so you can see it when I test it. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 10. The BV-155? Okay. It almost looks like it's in slow motion as it's going. Comes in with a time of 6.808 seconds, putting it 4th from the bottom. Kafir Canard? That'll be interesting. The Kafir Canard comes in with a time of 1.991 seconds. A very respectable time that lands it in 9th place. The Corsair 2? Okay. Comes in with 2.125 seconds. Noticeably slower than its close relative, the F8. No one asked for this one, but I want to see how the clipped wing Spitfire does. It comes in with a time of 2.608 seconds. Not as good as the Mark 24, I guess. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. I'll do it, if I can. I don't have every plane in the game. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 11. Key 43 Atsu? Okay. This one must have gained some weight compared to the other Key 43 because it's much slower at 2.008 seconds, putting it in 11th place. The British Corsair? Okay. It comes in with a time of 2.692 seconds, making it faster than the comparable American ones, but still slower than the F2G. F5? Okay. The Shenyang F5 comes in with a time of 3.642 seconds, putting it in 34th place. Just kidding, I know you meant the American one. I bet I got you, though. Did I get you? I bet I got you. The F5E comes in with a time of 2.308 seconds, putting it in 18th place, tied with the HE51 of all things. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. This is the BV-238. It's the biggest plane in War Thunder. It weighs in at 110 tons. Even the official War Thunder wiki page for it calls it a whale of a plane. But can it do a barrel roll? Well, an aileron roll, whatever. No, it can't. Are you crazy? I've been trying different attempts, different ways. Been doing this for days. It can't do it. I'm losing my mind over here. It can't. It can't. It's not even that it hits the ground. Like, even at higher altitude, it'll enter a dive so fast its wings will fall off. What, like, what do you want from me? Did not qualify? Want me to spin a little PNG? I could do that? I think this video might have come across as too hostile. War Thunder, plane roll rates compared. Part 12. MiG-21? Okay. The MiG-21 comes in with a time of 2.708 seconds, putting it in 28th place. How about the A6M series? Okay. The A6M3 comes in with a time of 3.241 seconds, landing it in 34th place. BF-109B1? How about the A? What if I did the A? The earliest 109 comes in with a time of 5.708 seconds, putting it in 49th place, ahead of the first Spitfire. ME-262, you got it. The first ever jet fighter comes in with a time of 5.108 seconds, landing it in 44th place. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder, plane roll rates compared. Part 13. All FW-190s. FW-190A1? Okay. The FW-190A1 comes in with a time of 2.041 seconds, putting it in 12th place, ahead of the F-16. FW-190A4? Okay. The FW-190A4 comes in with a time of 2.258 seconds, putting it in 17th place. FW-190D9. The D9 comes in with a time of 2.075 seconds, 14th place, tied with the F-16. Ta-152H. The Ta-152H trades roll rate for actually being a decent fighter. It comes in with a time of 3.975 seconds, putting it in 42nd place, right ahead of the BF-109K4. Ta-152C3. The Ta-152C3 comes in with a time of 2.241 seconds, putting it in 17th place. If you want to see a not FW-190 plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder roll rates compared. Part 14. Would you do the P-51? Yeah. The P-51 comes in with a time of 3.642 seconds, putting it in 42nd place. F-104? Sure thing. The German F-104 comes in with a slightly better time than the American one at 1.675 seconds, putting it in 3rd place, tied with the A4E. B-25J? Alright. The B-25J comes in with 10.408 seconds. This means that the single-seat, single-engine Firebrand only does 1 second better than the twin-engine B-25 with a crew of 7. The B-25 is pretty nimble for its size. The F-8F Bearcat? Sure thing. The Bearcat comes in with a time of 3.542 seconds, putting it in 43rd place, just ahead of the P-51 we tried earlier. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. This is the B-29 Super Fortress, the world's first nuclear-capable bomber. It can carry 20,000 pounds of bombs and fly at altitudes above 10,000 meters. But, can it do a barrel roll? I took a similar approach to the one that I did with the BV-238, where I entered a little dive to get some airspeed, and then started a climb at about 20-25 degrees, and started rolling in that climb. So once it started to drop the nose, I would be leveling out and not entering a dive right away. Compared to the BV-238, the B-29 feels downright nimble, and the time kinda reflects this as well. The B-29 comes in with a time of 25.124 seconds, putting it in 64th place, just ahead of the BV-238. Wow, I've done a Minecraft stack of planes. War Thunder, roll rates compared, part 15. You should do the F-82? Okay. The F-82 comes in with a time of 2.425 seconds, putting it in 26th place. This plane seems to literally defy the laws of physics because it got a time over a second better than the regular Mustang. I don't know how that works. F-5C perhaps? Okay. The F-5C comes in with a time of 2.191 seconds, putting it in 18th place. The F-14? Okay. The F-14 comes in with a time of 2.108 seconds, landing it in 16th place. MiG-21 BIS? Okay. The MiG-21 BIS comes in with a time of 2.725 seconds, putting it in 37th place. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment, and maybe subscribe, so you can see when I do it. War Thunder roll rates compared, part 16. The HE-162? Okay. The HE-162 comes in with a time of 2.341 seconds, putting it in 26th place. F-16 Block 10 at 800 kilometers an hour? Okay. The F-16 comes in with a time of 2.025 seconds, putting it in 13th place. The HE-100? Okay. The HE-100 comes in with a time of 3.742 seconds, putting it in 52nd place, just above the Ta-152. Would you do the XP-50? Sure. This borderline overpowered premium vehicle comes in with a time of 5.058 seconds, putting it 59th on the list. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder roll rates compared, part 17. ME-163? You got it. The ME163 comes in with a time of 2.608 seconds, putting it in 37th place. The BI? Sure. The BI comes in with a time of 2.941 seconds, putting it in 44th place. It also drove a wedge in this cluster of F4U Corsairs right here. The F7F? Alright. This twin-engine naval interceptor comes in with a time of 4.841 seconds, putting it in 60th place. The A4B? Okay. So, I have a confession to make. When I did the A4E, it was stock, not a single upgrade. I have the A4B fully upgraded. It did pretty well. 1.425 seconds. First place. Hands down, it's not even that close. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 18. It has been a while. The Ak-23? Okay. This interesting Soviet fighter comes in with a time of 2.696 seconds, putting it in 41st place. The Fokker DXXI? Okay. This plane comes in with a time of 3.063 seconds, putting it in 50th place. The ME-410 with the 50mm? Okay. It comes in with a time of 4.863 seconds, putting it in 68th place. The P-80? Okay. The P-80 comes in with a time of 2.812 seconds, putting it in 45th place overall. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 19. The MiG-23? Okay. The MiG-23 comes in with a time of 1.862 seconds, putting it in 7th place, doing the best of any Soviet aircraft so far. Try the P-39 and P-63? I'll do the P-39. It comes in with a rather lackluster 4.029 seconds, putting it in 64th place. And BF-110? Sure. This German fighter bomber, or interceptor, or escort fighter, or whatever this thing was supposed to be, came in with a time of 7.096 seconds, putting it in 83rd place, only a few spots away from the bottom. The PBY Catalina. Yeah, this aircraft has a lot in common with a whale. It's large, it's heavy, it's aquatic, it has a wingspan of 104 feet, maybe not that last one. But it comes in with a time of 13.896 seconds. That's 3rd from the bottom. If you want to see a plane tested, leave a comment. War Thunder Roll Rates Compared, Part 20. The LA-9? Okay. The Lavochkin LA-9 comes in with a time of 3.496 seconds, putting it in 57th place. The B-239? Okay. This exported Brewster Buffalo comes in with a time of 3.363 seconds, putting it in 55th place. The F-3F or the F-4F? Okay. The German Phantom comes in with a time of 2.629 seconds. I knew you meant one of these ones, and not this one. But I did the Wildcat back in Part 3, so... The J-35XS? Okay. This Double Delta comes in with a time of 1.896 seconds, putting it in 8th place. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the actual B-7A2, because it's a month later, and I have it now. So, the B-7A2 is great in a rate fight. It has great energy retention. In the pitch axis, it can outturn a surprising number of fighters. Not so in the roll axis. It's almost worse than the Firebrand. Not quite, though. 9.329 seconds, putting it in 89th place. So, why did I make this? Well, from a subscriber count perspective, I am currently 17.8% of the way to monetized. From a watch time perspective, I am at less than 1%.